Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay. I'm the community manager at Creatively Disruptive, and I have Jessica Glee with us today. She is the production manager. And Jessica is going to be showing us a walkthrough of how to create an audience for your Facebook ads. So we're going to walk through it. She's going to show us some special features. This is applicable to any business, but for your business, you'll get down to the details in the specific interests and the specific audience that you're creating. But Jessica, do you want to take it away?
Sure. So your where you do your audience in Facebook is within your ad set. There's multiple things that you can adjust and do within the ad set itself, but the ad set part is the audience part, right? So there's 3 different components to building within Facebook. You'll have your campaign, which is where you choose your objective, right? Then you'll have the ad set portion, which is where the audience is. And then the ad is where you do all the nitty gritty of creative, copy, everything that audience actually sees is in the ad part. So within the ad set, let me just walk you through it. This is just a simple, every one of the ad sets, no matter what campaign objective you choose, is going to look the same. But for this, it's the audience that we'll go over, right? Mm-hmm. So creating it from new, creating a new audience, there's a few things you can do depending on what you're targeting, right? Custom audiences is lists, right? Those are like the prime audience people. Let's say you have a list of customers. You can add that list to Facebook and target those same people specifically, if that's what you choose. You could do that for middle funnel, retargeting in any way, or you can create what's called a lookalike audience. Those basically what a lookalike audience is take many people that are just like that, right? Your goal is to, let's say you're a gymnastics club and you have a list of clients. You can find people that are like Sandra from your mom, who's got a 2-year-old in your class, person that she has on Facebook. They find people, Facebook's algorithm finds people similar to Sandra and shows them your ad. That's a lookalike audience. Right. So that's one option, right? You also can do different pixel events. So like if I wanted to do anything based off my website, I can say anyone who's visited my website, gone to a specific page, I can throw in an audience like that. Let's see. You can get down to targeting based off different ages. So 18 to 65 is the broad audience. That's the minimum. Well, you can go all the way down to 13, but it automatically will default to 18 or up. 65 or plus is that older generation. So let's say I'm just going to target someone who's 22 to 55, right? I've done my research. That's my typical audience sizing of who comes to my business, right? Most of my customers are around that age range, so that's who I'm going to target. For local businesses, as far as finding your location, it depends on what you do as a business, right? So gymnastics clubs, you probably aren't going to target anyone who's recently been in there. You're going to want to target those who are just living in, because you want them to continue to be a customer, right? Whereas like if you're a restaurant living in or recently in, it's a one-time off kind of a deal, right? As far as adding it in, you have a few different options. You can do it based off zip codes, which is just entering in the codes in your area. You could do it by dropping a pin, and that will locate that particular area and the radius around that area. Or you can add in your actual address. So adding in, I don't have an address on the top of my head, but adding in your address location, you can do a radius around that as well. So those are your type of different options for targeting based off your map. Mm-hmm. You could do it off genders, female, male, or all. And then adding in your detailed targeting, that's where you add in your interests and your specifics, right? So going off of the idea that you're a gymnastics club, right? You're going to want to target people who are interested in gymnastics from the sport. When adding in your interest, you need to make sure that you're looking at this label to the right, because you'll see it's different depending on what it is that you're looking at. So interests mean that people are interested in that type of topic. But if it says job titles, that means that they've actually put their job title as a whatever that is. There's behavior as well. So it's a matter of going in and finding things that are specific to your targeting. I am a gymnastics club who's trying to target people who are parents. What sets them apart from a parent? Yes, gymnastics is a good topic, right? Because that's what you are. But I can be a teenager who's interested in gymnastics that doesn't have kids, and then I don't fit into your audience, right? So it's getting down to the gritty, like who is your audience? Who is your persona? Doing that research for that part, and then going in from there. So the research we've done in the past for creatively disruptive targeting for gymnastics clubs is moms. So targeting things that Johnson & Johnson, Huggies, Pampers, what are things that moms are actually looking at and buying and interested in, and then targeting them with a potential ad to sign their child up for sport, right? It's the same concept. Like, yes, I talk about gymnastics, but it's the same concept for all businesses. You'll have to research what your audience is interested in, and then you can target based off that.
So if someone puts in multiple interests like gymnastics and Johnson & Johnson, does the person that Facebook delivers it to, is that someone who's interested in both those things or either one of those things?
Either one of those things.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. If you're wanting to limit it, so like let's say I'm just going to add in some stuff around gymnastics, but then Johnson & Johnson for now. You see how they have so many different options here? This is what I was talking about with making sure you have the right one, because I don't want to hit the employers.
Right.
But toiletries is probably what I'm looking for, or I can just add another one really quick. Huggies, you can narrow it, right? If someone's interested in such things, but then I want it to be anyone who's a parent with someone with the ages of 9 to 12, it does make it very, very specific when you do that. So I don't recommend limiting it to that, unless you're going to do it based off like income or something like that. So let's just add in my parents' audience here really quick. Because you can limit based off of income. Mm-hmm. So if you're in like a high income area, but you're having an issue of people coming in who like can't afford your classes or your product, whatever, you do have this option to test as well. As you can see where I'm going to, there's a ton of different options for you to target on. So you can see my basic audience here, right?
Yes.
As you're building this, it's going to show you your estimated audience size as you add more interests in there. So 57 to 68,000 people is who I'm potentially targeting. When I add a limitation, it's going to restrict that. So if I'm going to do household income of, let's say it's a really ritzy area, you can see how that limited it, right? Mm-hmm. Anyone in this area that makes top income of almost 50% of zip codes in the US within this area. So they're like, they've got the dough, so to say. So that's how many people this ad's going to be shown to.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's how you can limit it to kind of add layers to your audience. But just starting out, I don't recommend doing that. If you're just starting to build your audience for the first time and really getting into doing this build on Ads Manager, I would recommend just doing a broad spectrum targeting, or using a lookalike list based off interest or based off data you already have, mm-hmm. And going from there, right?
Right.
Is there any other topics, or I'm sorry if there's anything else? Everything else is pretty straightforward. You can manual placements versus everything. You basically can choose if you want to put it on Facebook, Instagram, where exactly on each. But as Facebook recommends, and I would recommend just doing it all. Don't try and pick and choose. Just put it everywhere you can. But that's the gist of building your audience. So
yeah, that's very helpful. And anyone watching this now or later, you're welcome to comment, ask us more questions if you need clarification about something, and we'll answer later too. So we're just happy to help y'all understand this, because this is a pretty powerful component of creating an ad.
Mm-hmm. So your audience is you can create the best ad in the world, but if your audience is not who it should be going to, it's going to flunk.
Right.
And you won't get the results you want.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it can be a waste of money to just put it in front of anyone in your area, because that's not necessarily going to be your target customers. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Jessica, for taking time to talk to us today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.